I have a concept that I call setting the lover space. The setting the lover space is this idea that for many women, we just don't initiate. We're not culturally raised to initiate sex. Some women do. Other and many women don't. As a matter of fact, the number one thing that men complain about to me is that their wife never or girlfriend never initiates sex, and they keep feeling like she doesn't want sex, and they take it as rejection, or they offer sex as an intercourse and she's so far away from that because her toe hurts or whatever. I just keep coming back to, if your feet hurt, you're just not going to be able to relax and have great sex. And so, he offers sex and that's too big an offer. And so she says no, and then he feels rejected. And so what I recommend is I tell men, look, in a relationship with a woman, your job is to take out the trash, kill the bugs and mice, and initiate sex. And if it's just your job and you know it's your job and it's just not the thing that she does, then start making her smaller offers than offers for your goal end game. Let's get back to where she is so she can relax and get turned on and go up her arousal ladder. And it's slower, and help her get out of her mind and into her body and relax. And then once she gets turned on, she'll want that 90% of the time. So you can't offer her the dessert until you fed her the appetizers. So setting the lover space works really, really well if you're lucky enough to have a partner, their job is to go in, let's just say, go into the bedroom, make the lighting nice, get a stack of fresh, clean, soft towels, get your favorite lubes out, put on your sexy playlist, light the fireplace, put the fascinator or bed, the covering over your bed so you don't get lube on your beautiful, duvet cover. Bring in a pitcher of water, offer her a glass of Chardonnay, and make the environment right, and then offer her to come in and settle in and get whatever it is that she needs in that moment from you with no expectation for more. As a single woman, if you do that for yourself, if you set the intention, and this is where actually having a little bit of a goal really helps, especially for hard-charging women like your followers, Amira. And that is that I recommend that solo women pleasure themselves and set their own lover space and get the 8 different types of tools that activate all of the 8 different areas of the vulva, so that you begin to pleasure yourself and cross-train with these tools so that you're activating the mind-body connection and innervating and activating and engorging all of the tissue of your yoni so that it becomes easier and easier and easier over time for you to get your big clit energy going, to get your lady boner, to your yoner, if you will, where you get all this blood flow over and over again into your genitals. It starts to reverse that atrophy. It starts to activate all that tissue. It starts to bring you to orgasm. And then you have orgasms from different types of stimulation. And you've set your own music, your own lighting, your own soft towels, your own favorite lube, and you're settling in to awaken and activate your own pleasure so that if and when you decide you have a partner, you'll automatically be more confident and more orgasmically activated. And so you'll be less nervous and more open because you'll already know many paths to orgasmic pleasure.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because when I was coming out of a marriage single, I was like, okay, well, I'm ready for something more. And I discovered self-pleasuring, and I started learning what turned me on, how to breathe into an orgasm, how to take my time with myself. So what you were saying, it's like I taught myself through that experience, this sort of the mind map to an orgasm. But let's go back to a couple things. So if you are a CEO of a company, you're an entrepreneur, you're an intrapreneur, you're working for someone else, but you are just hard driving, or even if you pass the hard driving stage, but you still are in that sort of doing mind, the transition to sexuality, there's the setting the scene, right?
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you do? Like for me, one of the things that was really helpful was like taking a walk or a run at the end of the day, getting outside or meditating, something that shifted my energy. It used to be, oh, I'll have a glass of wine after work, and that was the indicator
Relaxation.
that I was in a new space, but I decided I didn't really want to
Drink
have
every
a
day.
drink every day.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so I needed something that would put me in my body
Mhm.
again, out of my head. And although I I don't like that word. I'm conscious of staying in my body and staying in my sexuality and letting my sexual energy flow throughout the day. I think there's an art to that. I don't know that I've mastered it entirely, but I love feeling that life force. But nonetheless, there's something different about the evening and transitioning. So those are some of my tips for that. Do you have that same thing? Or are you able to go, okay, I'm done with work, and yes, honey, like I'll walk into the beautiful room that you've created for me and be able to sort of relax into that?
It gets easier as you do it, where you can
Yeah.
switch states more quickly. Your switch gets
You can
slippery.
flip it a little bit
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
But when I go into that room, sometimes I need to talk about things first. I need to be held. One of the techniques that I teach is something called the soulmate embrace.
Mm.
I have women teach it to their partners so that they get held the way we get held the way we need to be held to really fully relax and get into our body. And often that's enough for me, just having some conversations, some massaging, and some holding. And then that will help me slip out of my beta state and into my theta state. I like to think about them as brainwave states because they are.
Yeah.
It's a good way to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
There's another one
Okay.
thing that's really coming up for me that I want to say, and that is that when you begin to get into this mode of really listening to your body and giving Yoni what she wants, when you begin to open to your pleasure, when you begin to have lots of pathways to orgasm, when you activate your G spot, when you begin to really discover all of the pleasure inside your vagina, when your labia become activated and your mons becomes activated and orgasmic in addition to just the tip of your clitoris, when you start to begin to spread that pleasure, you also will begin to open your throat. There's a triumvirate of your nipples, your lips, and your yoni that work as a system. And in your body, your sphincter system, the vaginal sphincter, the anal sphincter, the throat, the esophageal sphincters, the stomach sphincters, your eyes are a sphincter. They're all working on a lock system. They open and close together. So when you begin to self-pleasure or be pleasured by your partner and get all that attention on your genital system and activating it, it's actually going to open everything. You're going to find more of your voice. You're going to find more confidence. And that whole concept of that channel being connected all the way up and down your body, the Taoists call that your hollow flute. It's also called your lumen, which is your light source. And when you are able to open the lumen and send that sexual energy up and down and run that sexual energy all the way up and down your body, when you go from having an orgasm by stroking the very tip of your clitoris to having full body, open throated, moaning orgasms, and orgasms from kissing and orgasms from breast and nipple play, all of you is going to open and be activated and be so much more confident and capable and verbal and find your voice and find your passion in a bigger and newer way. Most of the things that I talk about can be done solo or with a partner. And one of the things that I would tell a woman who is soloed is stop looking for the perfect person and start having some safe, sensual, and sexual experiences with people who you have a chemistry and a turn on with, that maybe aren't going to be your partner, or they don't check all your boxes, but they check your sexy box and they're good people. They maybe aren't going to be the earner you want for your companion or whatever, but you're hot for them. Have some allow yourself the pleasure of having some research partners, some sex partners, because a lot of women need me to give them the permission to do that, the encouragement to do that. That is a-okay. You're allowed to do that. You don't have to be a serial monogamist looking always for this person who checks all the boxes. If there's anything that I really want to leave you with, it's that activation is very, very important, and giving yourself the time, the place, and the space to receive pleasure, whether you're giving it to yourself or you're getting it from a partner, or both at the same time.
Yeah.
That is what I would love for your listeners to bring the same powerful energy that they bring to their careers to their sexuality, because they feed each other.
I love that. I love that. I love that.